Last time on Cursebreaker. We managed to defend against illegal invasion in Holly's home, but the fight left us in a state of chaos. Bert was summoned to court earlier than we anticipated, and we scrambled to gather our allies and witnesses and meet him in the Tower of Law. Tonberry's corruption was in full swing. He summoned a parade of confused and misled witnesses, twisting their words to slander Bert at every opportunity. But it seemed we'd made a good impression on Tildry. The tides are turning in our favor already, and our defense is just getting started.
Bert and Tibio, the defense is about to give their defense.
Yes, Bert, how should we play this? How should we start?
All right, we got a lot of good stuff.
We already brought up Ilya. Should we bring Ilya in first?
Ilya didn't testify. I feel like we want to hold off a bit on
The big
Brax
two, yes.
and Samantha. I especially would like it if Millhouse was here for Samantha.
Yes. Maybe we start with Margot?
Let's start with Margot, maybe then Ilya, then Samantha, Brax.
And the dwarves.
Oh, the dwarves.
You gotta call me.
When do we bring up Holly's little...
Margot, Ilya, Holly, the dwarves.
I like it.
Then Brax.
Okay.
Okay.
And break. Law break. Okay.
The defense is prepared.
Very well. Who do you call for your first witness?
The defense calls Margot Bingo to the stand.
I might have expected. The gavel slams, and Margot Bingo appears in the seat next to Tonberry. She kind of refuses to look up at the judges whatsoever, and she looks on at Bert and Tibio and just gives them a solemn nod.
Hey, Margot.
Good morning to the both of you.
Miss Bingo, can you please tell us what happened to the guild house recently?
Our guild house was burned down. Whether it was an accident or intentionally caused remains to be seen.
And have there been other fires recently?
Yes, several across the city, strangely targeted at friends of mine.
Guild members?
Some guild members, some run in other circles.
I see. And can you tell us who you suspected to have been orchestrating these fires?
She gives you the tiniest, head shake, and she says, "We don't know yet."
Please, Miss Bingo, if there is any time to come forward with the truth, it is now. And I give her a very serious nod, indicating that we have her back.
Casting accusations has a way of putting people in harm's way. People that don't deserve it. I can't do such a thing.
Would you say that you are afraid of reprisal from the courts?
You could say that.
Thank you, Miss Bingo. Bert, do you have any questions?
Thank you for your testimony, Miss Bingo.
Tonberry just rolls his eyes and he goes, "Wow," and slams the gavel and she disappears. Those of you that are outside of this, I assume you've kind of regrouped so that Holly, Snack, and Uli are near each other.
Mm-hmm.
The three of you here, she's incredible as she always was. You see a hood kind of get pulled down and you see Veronica Venus standing next to you.
Oh, yes. Veronica! Wow. Why am I so happy right now? I knew it was a Cursebreaker's voice I heard. No, I'm just
What the fuck?
Oh, my old Southern belle, Holly.
I just like to do accents sometimes, you know.
We haven't seen her since episode 6 or something, right?
A long time. Yeah.
Damn. How you doing, Ronnie?
I'm doing quite well, Holly. I'm glad to see all of you are still alive. That's a good sign, right?
Holly's gonna grab her arm and like sitting on the bench and just give her her arm a little hug. She's really excited to see her.
Margot was always the most impressive among us. She's a spectacular human being and a stronger Cursebreaker than I, obviously. And she like gestures to her old body.
You've shown your merit as a Cursebreaker. I mean, we've seen it ourselves.
Damn straight, I saved your bacon.
That's right. You sure did save the literal bacon.
Let's watch on. I think there's going to be some real good fireworks here.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Tibio looks at his notes, nods at Bert.
I would like to remind the court of a statement from earlier in the trial in which it was said that dead people cannot testify in court.
Tonberry looks up from his doodle and says, mm-hmm.
May we request that a particular judge does the summoning?
I suppose.
Judge Malborough, please, can you summon Ilya?
Tonberry kind of like turns around and looks at Malboro, and you don't see the face that Tonberry's making, but Malboro is holding eyes with Tonberry, and then he like looks straight at the ground.
As we have said before, now is the time to stand up and do what is right.
Tonberry just kind of like furrows an eyebrow at you, like, what the hell was that comment? Tonberry looks at you and says, a truly morbid request. We have confirmed that Ilya has already passed.
Have you confirmed it, or have you just stated it?
We were unable to summon her before, so of course she's deceased, or she's on another
I would
plane.
like to request a zone of truth.
Very well. We will cast a zone of truth for the next witness. And they cast the spell over the spot where the witness goes.
I would like to extend it to the entire court area.
Tonberry like turns around and confers with the other two for a second, and he says, there is obscure precedence for this. It is permitted.
Thank you.
Truth.
Please summon Ilya.
Again, Tonberry kind of like gives like just a little glance behind him, and like you just hear, and Ilya appears in the stand, like looking around side to side, and you like everybody who's out in the audience just like has this like simultaneous inhale of like, oh shit, and Tonberry like stands up, goes dark, and outside the court you can hear him just go, what in the, and he like sits back down.
I'm cheering in the crowd.
Says, clearly there has been an issue with my gavel.
Clearly.
It is not working. Can I get a new gavel that won't fudge the summoning spell, please? And he just throws it off to the side.
Hello, Ilya.
What is this?
Now is the time to tell the truth and be on the right side of things.
Shit.
Please, Ilya, can you tell us who is your most recent employer?
She like looks around again and sees Tonberry like right up and to her right, and she's, oh shit. Most recent employer. Okay. It was a government official. I worked for the government of Tildry.
And where were you placed to work?
Oh god. I was sent on discreet missions.
I'm going to message to Ilya
Okay.
and just say, it's okay, we have your back.
You see her eyes kind of like dart around, and she says,
I'm right here. You're fine. It's okay.
I was sent on discreet missions of nefarious nature. I spied on people. I was made to hurt people.
Under the order of the government official?
Correct.
And were you present at the 4L Juice Bar and Nightclub?
Yes. I was working there at the time when I met you.
And on the night you met us at that club, did you witness Frankie Fizzle polymorph into someone else?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
He was a dirty little gnome. He said his name was Jinx.
And did you witness Jinx as Frankie Fizzle committing any crimes?
I would say so.
And to clarify, you were told to work for Jinx, disguised as Fizzle, by the government of Tiltree.
Yes.
And specifically, what person in the government were you working for?
Judge Tonberry.
Me and Ronnie are just like, yeah.
Tonberry does not seem upset. Malboro just unsummons Ilya and is back to like staring at the floor, and you see like his eyes are glassy and his face is going red.
I did want to ask another question, but
Too late.
that's okay.
Says, who else have you for your defense?
The defense calls Holly Hyacinth to the stand.
Holly's more ready this time.
Welcome back, Holly.
Miss Holly, can you please share with the jury what happened this morning at your home?
So we get a knock on the door super early. I hadn't even woken up yet. The sun wasn't up. It was maybe like 5 a.m. I went downstairs to answer the door, and I don't usually answer the door at that time for strangers, so I asked who it was. They said, let us in. We have a warrant. There was some architectural restructuring, and then they were able to enter. And then...
Tiny door.
Tiny door. And then the doors came in. They were looking for Uli Ness and Snack the Cobalt. I said they weren't in the building because they were outside in the backyard. Then I told them to leave because they were not present, and they didn't need to like use their warrant. But then they started breaking things and destroying my home, and one thing led to another, and I had to defend my own property from them destroying everything. And so
Objection, hearsay. We have no evidence that any of this happened.
In fact, we do. Miss Hyacinth.
Are we
yes.
going to take a field trip to Miss Hyacinth's home?
No. If you would please let the defense do their work.
Please.
Miss Hyacinth, do you have any evidence of said attack taking place?
Yes, I do. I have this Historoscope, and I can play my recording of the doors attacking me and my friends at my home under warrant, quote unquote.
You see Judge Tonberry look back at Flan really quick and look forward and go, the fuck is that?
And I'd like to present Historoscope, slide number 3, as evidence to the courts. And Holly plays the third slide. and shows
Can
the
we
doors.
please request that this image be presented to the entire jury?
One of the law mages steps forward and does like a pinch zoom with his fingers. And the projection just gets bigger and bigger. And he just keeps doing
Enhance.
it. Keeps doing
Enhance.
it. Yeah.
Enhance.
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 So yeah, it's a big screen at this point.
Awesome. So the recording shows two dwarves as they're casting spells and attacking in the Holly's basement is what I
We are
recorded. I
serving warrant. We are doing nothing wrong.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
One further question. These flower bag men that invaded your home, have you seen them anywhere else?
Oh, yes. So all these flower men, originally we met at the 4L Juice Bar when we went on the brewery tour. They had a bunch of flower men working in the brewery and being real spooky and scary.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Holly clicks off the Historoscope and puts it back in her pocket.
Before it switches to a home video about something.
And it, like, you guys see just a little bit of a clip of us by the pool before it's...
I'm pretty sure I was naked.
You see a clip of Uli naked just going, cannonball!
My shiny little butt.
When you appear back in the crowd, Holly, Veronica grabs you by the shoulders and she says, "You used it. That's fantastic."
Of course I used it. I should have been taking more. Scope says that my adventures have led me many interesting places.
I've been meaning to ask you, did you delete all the stuff that was on there when you got it? No reason.
Yes.
All right.
Do you have yet more witnesses to call?
Yes. Can I summon someone if they do not know their name?
I don't think so. He kind of like turns. He says, "Could you describe them?"
Yes, they are two dwarves that look like brothers that work for you.
We just saw them in the video. Those ones.
Those two.
Uh-huh. Does anyone here know the names of these dwarves?
I elbow one in the side. I go, hey, what's your name?
He kind of like shakes his head no.
Wait, you're right by them?
Yeah, they're
they
here.
brought him in. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I marched them up to the
Oh, that's
front.
right. Because I forgot. Okay.
Well, if you cannot summon them, that's okay. We will do it. And I point.
Very well. I guess we're going to hear from the both of you at once.
Yes, we would prefer that they stay together as they are attached by a rope
Very
at
well.
this time.
What are your names, young masters? And they say, "We are Marin and Lugan." Right. And are you here against your will or under duress? And they say, "Yes, we are here against our will." They say, "You don't need to testify."
Permission to treat the witnesses as hostile.
Permission denied. They're clearly bound.
If we unbind them,
If you unbind us, we will leave.
Oh,
Do you deny that was you that we just all saw in the video just now?
It was me, but not the good angle.
and can you confirm that you work for the Second Court of Dildry?
The two dwarves like look at each other and then they look up at Tonberry and they say, "Line."
Zone of Truth still up.
Yeah. Tonberry says, "It's possible they're under our employ."
Thank you, that is all.
Outside of the area, outside of that central circle, you hear that door slamming open. You all see Tonberry, Malboro, and Flan stand up and go dim. Bert and Tibio looking back towards the kind of entry to this place. Moving out of the shadows, you see Bella Beaumont, Dave, and Sheriff Tandy.
oh, fuck yeah.
Striding in front of them, of course, is Bella. She says, "Bella Beaumont, Ambassador for Lamplight and Special Counsel to Tibio Femur and Engelbert Wisherspoon."
Wow.
She,
Dave.
Is she wearing the outfit I made her?
she is.
Yes!
She turns back to where Holly might be in the crowd and says, "Returning the favor."
Yeah! Go Bella! Whoop whoop! Hey Dave!
We had some extra witnesses that might like to testify on behalf of Engelbert Wisherspoon and his character.
I would like to confirm that they are a part of our legal counsel team.
That's right.
There it is. We had the pleasure of meeting these people back in Lamplight, and they helped us out something fierce. We would like to call to the stand Dave Hackbone. He had the pleasure of meeting these people early on as well. Dave, would you take the stand? And Tonberry says, you may take the stand, Dave.
Totally in control.
Yeah. Dave sits down, and Bella says, "Dave, what do you have to say on behalf of Engelbert and his party?" He says,
Each of them risked life and limb to save my brother, who did nothing to deserve their aid. Truly, nothing. He actually tried to kill them immediately, and they spent the rest of their time in Lamplight trying to save him from a curse. These are the kinds of people you want on your side. These are the real people of Tildry.
"Thank you, Dave."
Thank you, Dave.
And Sheriff Tandy, foremost authority of all of Lamplight Harbor, what do you have to say on behalf of these lovely people? Sheriff Tandy takes the stand and looks at the two of you and just like gives you a wink and says, "These people saved the entire city from destruction and gave us peace. They were fighting an uphill battle, some of them. They had their own troubles, but they dropped everything to help Lamplight. They risked a lot, their own physical bodies. They saved a child from a curse they had nothing to do with. These are good people, not killers. That's all." And she leaves the stand.
Bert has a little tear falling down his face, and he says, Thank you all for coming. It means so much to me. Now, I think we're about to finish this off with 2 slam dunk witnesses.
Very well, you may present them for whatever good it does.
We would like to summon Samantha Barrow.
Fuck. Right around that time, actually, pretty dramatic timing. The already open door, you see Millhouse Barrow step through kind of shyly. Those of you kind of in back of house see him step in and shuffle up next to you.
You might want to sit down.
Oh, yeah. And he sits down, and Samantha Barrow appears in the seat, and you see him just go, Sam.
Hello, Samantha.
Hi.
Can you please tell us what recently happened to you?
Yeah. I, a while ago, met Margot Bingo. She told me about curses, and what they really are, and the things that can happen from curses and the things it can do to families, and well, I couldn't let it happen. Not in my town. So I joined up with them. I got this crazy tattoo, and there I was, the youngest Cursebreaker they ever had. I knew it was dangerous. I don't blame Margot for what happened. I didn't think they'd come after me in my own home.
And can you tell us who came after you?
It was a gnome. He's very unassuming. He said he was there to learn agricultural magics. But he wasn't. He was there to learn from me. He was infiltrating, trying to learn more about Cursebreakers, and they went for the youngest of us, the weakest, they thought. It didn't take me long to figure out what he was up to, and I should have just run, or I should have found a reason to make him leave, but I fought him. And I got polymorphed. For a few weeks there, I was a bird. But he saved me.
And who is he?
Pointing kind of at Bert. And then she's like, no. And she's pointing like out of the place, like towards Snack.
Was it one of Bert's friends that saved you?
Yes.
And just to clarify, you were not murdered by one Brax Minnow?
Not at all. No, he's a good person.
Thank you for your time. We would like to not send Samantha away, but let her walk into the public section to find her family.
She, kind of without permission, like descends the stand and kind of runs off into the shadow. And, like as soon as she steps out of that shadow area and can see Millhouse again, that she just kind of like stops where she is, and her hair just kind of like floats out in front of her, and she's staring at Millhouse. And Millhouse like stands up and kind of like puts both of his hands in his hair, and he just says, Sammy. And he like takes a step, and they get closer to each other, and the court case continues.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'll take this last one if you don't mind, Tibia.
Oh, please.
If it would please the court, may one of the judges please recite the third charge of which I am being tried?
The third charge, which you have been set with, is for the murder of Mr. Brax Minnow, to which you had pleaded innocent.
The murder of Brax Minnow. All right. I summon Brax Minnow.
Tonberry doesn't move.
Brax Minnow, everyone.
Oh, that's all right. He's right here.
Brax now appears before you, kind of like nodding heavily to you, Bert, as if he's like cranking some tunes in his own little
like
headphones.
finger guns.
Yeah. And he just says, give it to him.
Good to have you back, Brax.
Good to be here.
All right. Well, could you state your name for the court?
My name is Brax Minnow, investigator extraordinaire.
All right, that second part wasn't strictly necessary. Boy, Brax Minnow, that's the person I'm on trial for murdering, isn't that right?
Let me check my notes here. Yeah, that would seem the case.
Oh, Interesting.
Very interesting.
What happens if someone is accused of murdering someone and that person ends up being alive?
Well, I'd say they're off the hook, right?
They gotta be.
Any other questions for me, Bert?
You just saw Samantha Barrow up here.
Mm-hmm.
You might also remember that I am also being charged for conspiracy into her murder, which you yourself were tried for. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And again, just to recap, Samantha's alive. So what does that mean for your charge vis-a-vis my charge?
Well, I mean, simply following logic and reason. I'm innocent, as are you, right?
That seems like a reasonable conclusion to me.
If I may, Bert.
Please.
When I first started looking into the disappearances, I thought we had a new murderer on the loose. But it's much worse than that.
Oh. Do tell.
See, a curse is a powerful thing. It's like a little tear in the fabric of reality. It warps magic around it into something awful, usually dangerous. I learned this from a young Cursebreaker named Samantha Barrow. I spoke with her while I was investigating the disappearances. She told me about the others in her organization that had recently gone missing, and she feared for her safety. When I followed that thread to its natural conclusion, I came upon a dire discovery.
A dire discovery, oh my.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, people of Tildry, I have troubling news. The judge who stands before you is cursed.
The fuck?
Which one?
Judge, you're saying Judge Tonberry is cursed?
That is my professional conclusion.
Well, this will certainly have to be dealt with. It's a very serious accusation. One more thing, if you don't mind. Long before the events involving Samantha, you were also investigating a certain local figure. This was back before I left Tildry. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. Fellow named Frankie Fizzle.
And what did you discover in your investigations?
Not Frankie Fizzle.
No?
Not at all. At some point, Frankie croaked. I don't know when, but he got replaced by this very rude, very unwashed gnome named Jinx.
The very same Jinx we've seen testify earlier today.
Correcto.
Wow, Brax. You done good.
That's right.
Hey, that's my line.
Have we heard all of your witnesses, Engelbert?
We have one final witness, please.
One final witness is permitted.
We would like to call to the stand Judge Malborough.
He turns around to Flan and then Malboro, and he shakes his head. He says, "A clear conflict of interest. I can't permit it." With that being settled, we are going
Is
to
this the judge who was just accused of being cursed, saying he can't allow our final witness?
Fine, I'll take myself out of it. Judge Flan, please. Malboro, do you want to testify against the city?
It would not be against the city. It would just be sharing his opinions and his perceptions.
She turns to Malboro and says, "Malboro, is this what you want to happen?" And Malboro kind of looks between you and the judges, and he looks at the floor and he shakes his head no. Very good. It sounds like it's settled then. Tonberry.
I would like to call Engelbert F.F. Witherspoon to the stand.
Oh.
Everyone gasps.
Very well. Your final witness is Engelbert Witherspoon. To the stand, please.
Whoop.
Bert, can you please recount the conversation that you had with Judge Malborough last night?
Yes, I'd be happy to, Tibio. I did meet in private with Judge Malborough before the trial, where he confided in me that the three judges, himself included, had already cast their vote against me before hearing any testimony, and also that they were moving the trial to today. You know, it was supposed to be Sunday in order to sort of thwart our defense.
And did Judge Malbaro give any reason for his vote against you?
Malboro said to me that he was being pressured to vote against me by the other two judges. He wanted to vote in my favor, but he said his hands were tied, basically.
And did he express that he was in any fear of his life?
I'd definitely say he did.
Thank you, Bert.
We've heard every witness that they have to call. We have heard witnesses for the prosecution. We will now take it to a vote of the voice of the people. Have you any closing statements, Engelbert?
The voice of the people.
May we open the doors to speak to the city at large?
I suppose we're at the tail end here. Why not? And you hear a click as the lights slowly kind of come back up so that you can see this whole room.
All right, I'll try to keep this brief. You've all heard the testimony today. Two of the people I've been charged with involvement in their murders have shown up to testify. I'll leave that to interpret as you will. And we've seen a pattern of dodginess, lies from these judges who stand before us. And so I ask you, when you cast your vote, think about who's really in charge of this city.
You hear a shift in the room.
3 old people in dusty robes, or the people of Dildry?
And I open the back doors.
The roar outside gets considerably louder when you do. Tonberry says, "Finally, we will hear the voice of the people. All in favor of voting toward Engelbert F.F. Wisherspoon's innocence, please raise your hand."
Stand up to flame. Stand up to flame. Burn.
You see the room kind of all move at once as hands go up everywhere. You don't see a single person in the room not holding their hand up. A lot of them even stand up. The equivalent of a standing ovation of voting for somebody. And he says, "Very well. Those who would vote towards Bert's guiltiness and sentencing, please raise your hand." And you see one hand being raised out in the crowd.
Who?
And he says, "Unfortunately, Engelbert required a completely unanimous voice of the people, which it seems they have not reached a consensus." And you see an explosion of white, powdery flour as Sid clearly is standing behind the one dissenter saying, "Nope, we got a unanimous vote. It's 300.
Sid! Thanks, man.
Like, "I got your back." And gives you like a little wink. Says, he's out in the stands a little bit, and he says, "As you can see, we've got a unanimous voice of the people. Circumstances being what they are, you've seen obstruction. You've seen them fight against the process every step of the way, ignoring evidence, planting jury members," gesturing to the sack of flour on the ground.
Murder.
"What more evidence do you need?" And Tonberry stands from where he is, no more shadows to hide behind. And he says, "The voice of the people is heard. Malboro, cut me a portal to the fountain.
Don't do it!
Malboro, cut me a portal to the fountain."
Hold on.
Malbaro, you know that this is wrong.
Malboro, I understand why you did what you did, but
The whole city is behind you now.
We need to break the curse on Tonberry.
He turns around and says, "Malboro, you sniveling coward!" And you see a little kind of blur appear in the air, and something invisible strikes down at Malboro, and you see him kind of struck through the chest, and he sharply inhales, and then you see him like hold up a hand and begin a teleportation spell, and then he drops his hand to finish it, and Malboro alone disappears.
Oh, fuck.
Thanks so much for listening. I'm Tim, your DM and your genie.
I'm Hannah, playing Holly Hyacinth.
I'm Thomas. I play Engelbert FF Wisherspoon.
I'm Tara, and I play Tibio Famur.
I'm John. I play Snack the Kobold.
And I'm Maggie, playing Uli.